Alright Guardians, this is our weekly solo player's guide to the Nightfall. This is our Titan variant. If you're new to the channel, we do this every single Tuesday and Wednesday with all three classes, Hunter, Warlock, and Titan. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and hit subscribe and look in the description box below for those links. Also, we do a Challenge of Elders guide every single Tuesday. We pick one character that I feel would do the best job according to the modifiers, and we just rock that out as well. So if you need that every week, go ahead and look in the description box below. That's also going to be down in there. But other than that, let's go ahead and look at the modifiers of this week for the Nightfall, as well as our setup, what we're rocking, how our subclasses set up, and then we'll rock the guide. Modifiers this week include Epic, heavily shielded and highly aggressive enemies appear in great numbers. Solar Burn, solar damage from any source is greatly increased. Small Arms, primary weapon damage is favored, but it will take away from your special and heavy damage output, so just keep that in mind. Fresh Troops, some enemy squads have been fortified with additional reinforcements. Now I didn't notice this one at all, except for in the final boss fight. There spawns in servitors as well as the normal shanks that you usually see, so just keep that in mind, but it's not too big of a deal. And Exposure, Guardian shields are increased but do not replenish. It wouldn't be the Fallen Saber Nightfall if they didn't have some kind of perk modifier like that. As far as setup goes, of course we're going with the no raid setup again. There's probably going to do it for all three guides this week. We're rocking the Hand of Judgment. My role is actually probably perfect for my kind of playstyle. It's got hand-laid stock, explosive rounds, and Firefly. But if you want to use an adept weapon, I would suggest either Smite of Moraine. I've heard is really good because it's not only does it do damage to Taken, which will be in the first and second parts of this one, but it also has Firefly, and that is you'll see what I mean in a little bit. But if you don't have any ranked weapons or anything like that, Hand of Judgment, you can get this from the House of Judgment reputation packages, or the just grind out Prison of Elders and Challenge of Elders until you rank up. I think they start at rank 2 or 3 to get these packages. Hand of Judgment is an awesome, very high impact, low rate of fire scout rifle. I do recommend you grind for this. And this roll, this is my baby right here. Of course, we're rocking Devil's Dawn. I would suggest if you don't have an Ex Machina to use Devil's Dawn, though Event Horizon is also in this archetype. Main reason I say Devil's Dawn or Ex Machina is because they would both do bonus damage to Fallen. I think Ex Machina does more than the Devil's Dawn, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% positive. Plus, this also comes with life support. Kills with this weapon while critically wounded have a chance to start regenerating health. Even with Exposure, it will give you a slight nudge of health. So if you want to use Red Death, that might also be beneficial. I didn't actually think to try that out until just now. Maybe with my Warlock guide. And then Iron Galahorn, or Galahorn, is what I would highly recommend. Though with the Titan, with the Sunbreaker, it's not as necessary. But I would say it does help a lot. You definitely want Cauterize. Enemies brought down by your fire, so either your hammers, your grenade, or your charged melee attacks will do a slight buff to your health. We're going with Explosive Fire. Enemies felled by your hammer explode, chaining fiery solar damage to others. So it's always good. Yeah, that's probably one you want to use. I like Thermal Vent. Sunstrike releases a solar explosion on hit, create a sunspot that damages enemies inside, and it does. It will melt anything that gets in that little sunspot. So if you want to try it, you might. I prefer Forge Master just because you throw more hammers, and hammers cause bigger explosions. But Scorched Earth might not be a bad one to try out this week either. Actually, I might, depending on how often you pop your super, you might want to do Scorched Earth. Ignite the world, creating sunspots everywhere your Hammer of Soul impacts. So anytime your hammer hits the ground, or I believe an enemy, it will do a sunspot or an area of effect damage that'll last a pretty decent while. So you might want to try that out. And then I would suggest Thermite Grenades. That's that one where it just shoots walls of fire for a few seconds. It's pretty helpful. But other than that, we're also rocking the Armamentarium for an additional grenade charge. But yeah, other than that, let's go ahead and rock this guide. Alright, so once you get to this area and this little war sat drops, go ahead and scan it as quickly as possible. You do want to stand a little bit back, just because if you get too close, it will either do damage to you, or it can also potentially kill you, depending on how close you are to where it lands. So just keep that in mind. Take that orb down behind you. 2 sniper shots and a primary shot should do the trick. And then there's going to be 3 waves right here. There's going to be, I believe it's 3 Vandals and a Captain in the first wave. I believe it's the same thing for the second wave. And the last wave, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, it's 5 Vandals and a Captain. So what you want to do is just use this war set like you see me doing here for cover. And get these guys down as quickly as possible. Now, they won't always come to the right, as you can see. Sometimes they'll try and sneak at you through the left. So just kind of keep an eye out on that. I believe the Artifact of Gellion is what I'm using. I didn't go over that in the setup. But it lets you... pretty much gives you Third Eye and Keen Scout. Which means you'll have your radar visible while aiming down sights with your primary weapon, as well as an enhanced radar. So if that will help you out at all, rock that. Now when this wave comes up, what you're going to want is just pop your super or start throwing Galhorns. In this wave there's going to be 2 wizards that are normal, and I believe it's 2 or 3 normal captains, and then there's going to be 1 major taken wizard and 2 major captains. Take them out as quickly as possible. I would suggest saving your Galhorn shots for here or your super, depending on how you fare with the just the regular old, red bar captains and wizards. But if you can make it past these guys, all you really have to worry about is this little orb right here. You can get that out of your way. And then what you see right there is this is where the rest of the enemies are going to spawn. It's going to be one wizard and then 1 vandal. And that's all they're going to spawn in, 1 at a time. It gives you plenty of time to take out each one in between spawns. So you shouldn't have anything to worry about. Now, if you don't know, you do have to stay in this circle the majority of the time. I would suggest not jumping too high, because that will also take you out of the transmission section thing. You'll see the little line down there. If you get out of that line or you jump too high, it'll stop transmitting the warsat, and it will waste your time. You can see defend the warsat. I had about 26 seconds left. So you want to be very, very careful about how you get in and out, or how high you're jumping. But once that goes, go ahead and get any kind of supply box that spawns in for you, and then just take this little shortcut, drop right down here, scan, and go on to the next section. Alright, so once you get into this room, what I like to do is take my Galhorn and then just shoot these things. Or if you have something with Firefly, that'll also work really effectively as well. There's going to be a bunch of what I can see is a bunch of acolytes and a few vandals. The second wave is going to be a bit harder with 2 major taken knights. You have to be very careful of them. That's when I suggest maybe using some Galahorn shots to take them down, because they will shoot fire and they will hurt you pretty bad. And then this third wave is just going to be 2 regular captains and 1 regular wizard. Once you take them down, and be very careful of the wizards as when they're taken, because as you can see, they will shoot these little, like, I don't know, photon phaser blast things that do solar damage, and they hurt a lot. It actually kills me here in the next section that I'm about to edit out. But go ahead and throw your grenade down. You want to throw it, try and get as close as possible to it, and then just go ahead and tuck it in there, just so you don't waste the grenade. And then just come around down here, jump through here, and then be careful when you jump through there, just so you don't get any damage from these little arc streams. It won't hurt a lot, but it may or may not save your life, that little chunk of health. Just come on down. I like to stick to the right side. I don't know anybody that runs up through the left side. But wait until the arc stream passes you, and then just Titan skate or double jump. Just double jump and then just keep tapping X if you don't know how to Titan skate. Now you do. Go ahead and plug it into that little thing, and then just shoot the oncoming shanks, and you should be good to go. Alright, now this section there's going to be a bunch of taken scions up top. Kill them as quickly as possible, because they will spawn in additional enemies. In this part there's also going to be a major taken captain and taken wizard. That's also a major. Be very careful of them. I do believe they kill me, so I might have to edit that out if I'm right. And then just a bunch more scions. And I think there's a couple of vandals in the back as well. So just be careful of all of them. But you should. It's pretty decent. If you have to, like you can see me doing here, just run back into the previous room and use these stairs like a head glitch. And then once you just take out the rest of the enemies, the major captain, the taken wizard, also a major, it should be relatively easy. Use your grenades and melees if you have to get some health back. And then we'll move on to the next section. Alright, so once you get to this section, it's going to be pretty easy. There's just going to be some taken acolytes and a taken major of some sort. It's either going to be a knight like you see here, or a taken major captain. So just be aware of them. Pop your super if you need additional health. That will help you out a little bit. And then just make your way into the boss fight. Alright, so once you're here, you're going to draw out the attackers, which is 2 servitors, 1 on this side and then 1 on right behind us. Once you take them out, it will trigger the boss to spawn in. So go ahead and come over here. And you can actually use these pillars as cover. Now the boss is going to be doing solar damage this first wave. So be very, very careful. It will one-shot you no matter what health you're at. As you can see, it kind of charges up like a fusion rifle, so it does give you a like half a second time to dodge it. But as long as he can't actually see you, he won't shoot at you. And I think that's the safest way to handle this boss. Now there's also, as you can see, a bunch of shanks, and every once in a while a servitor will spawn in. It's usually about 1 per wave, 1 or 2 per wave. So just be careful of them. They are doing arc damage, but that doesn't stop them from melting you pretty quick. So I would actually suggest focusing on them and then slowly doing damage to the boss. Throw your grenades. Which is another reason why I suggest thermite grenades, just because you'll be doing those waves of damage instead of just one burst of damage. I would also suggest saving your Gjallarhorn shots for the final phase, but that's just me. I say that because the final phase, even though he's doing arc damage, it's still pretty dangerous, as you're going to get sniper shanks in that wave. But once you beat the first wave, it will say he gets rid of the heat sinks and the blast shields are deployed. What you want to do is you want to bust your way over to where I'm at right now and just use these little tower things as cover. Because where we were standing before is now like a death area, and it will do like the arc streams like in the previous section, and that will kill you pretty quick. So what you want to do is just pretty much pop around these things, shoot your Gjallarhorn if you want to. I still suggest saving those for later, and then just make sure you're getting all these exploder shanks, because if they don't kill you, they'll get you pretty weak, and you definitely do not want to be weak in this section. So go ahead and just keep doing damage to the boss. You might also want to use Sleeper Simulant if you're a pretty decent shot with that. That might help you. You might actually prefer that. I'm not sure. That's kind of up to you and your play style. I'm rocking the Gjallarhorn just because it's a little bit quicker and a little bit easier as far as use goes. Alright, and then the third wave should be coming up any second. I believe it's like the last 4th of health or so. Try not to have too many enemies. Just pretty much continuously clean them out. Especially the servitors, they will hurt pretty bad. There we go. With the third and final wave, do whatever you got to do as much damage as quickly as possible. In this wave, in the little boxes that you see up above, there are going to be 1 sniper shank in each of those boxes, so be very careful. Get rid of those as quickly as possible. As as you see here, bam, bam. And then what you want to do is jump up onto this little platform. The boss will actually go all the way around, and he'll go up that little, what's it called? It's called a ramp. He will go up the ramp instead of like hopping up over it. And so that will give you a little bit more time before you have to run away again. And then you can pretty much stay here. If you crouch about where I'm at, the majority of these guys won't be able to hit you, which is very nice. Because if they do hit you, it hurts a lot. As you can see, 2 shots has me about down. Pretty rough. So get rid of them as quickly as possible. And then just keep avoiding that shank. He will just follow you around the map. And then that's it. You're done. You're good to go. Stay tuned for rewards at the end, both from the Sunrise Bounty and the normal Nightfall reward. But other than that, hopefully you found this guide informative, useful, helpful, any of the above. If it did, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit subscribe, like I said at the beginning of the video. All your other guides will be linked in the description box below as they become available. And other than that, I'll talk to you guys later.
We can come back for them when you're ready. Let's get you home.